Welcome to the podcast where we talk about the things that are hidden in the shadows. This is Isaac.
And this is Megan.
And if you listen to our other podcast, NYC, you probably would have heard me explain why we sound different. But if you don't, I'll explain on this one. We
made a boo-boo.
A big-ass mistake. We don't know what the hell we're doing when it came to the technology. But we figured out that we were recording directly from the computer microphone and not the microphones.
Literally, from the other podcast, we literally went from March until now thinking, oh, these mics are so good, but why do we sound so digital? And it was literally because we weren't even using the mics.
No, we were recording directly to the computer microphone.
Yeah, so...
But even with us knowing what we're doing now, we still have to get new stuff.
Yeah, we still have to get new equipment. Because for whatever reason, our equipment is just not...
we're recording one microphone with us very close to each other.
Yeah. So
which is nothing new, but...
Yeah. So we're, just using one mic. So we definitely wanted to get an episode out to you guys. We didn't want to, postpone it because, that's not...
So, if we sound cleaner and better, it's because of that. We finally figured out what the hell we were doing wrong.
Yeah. So this episode is going to be a continuation to our first ever episode called My Ghost Stories. We have a couple different ghost stories and paranormal experiences to talk about, and then we're going to kind of dive more into our ghost experiences and everything.
Because there's a lot more.
Yes. Like I said before on the previous episodes, literally we could write a book.
Shit. As I was saying that the ghost stories I told from the ranch, that was a smidgen.
Yeah.
And we'll tell a few more.
But
in this one.
I definitely want them to hear about the ranch, but more so take away the paranormal, more about the creatures and stuff. Didn't you say you saw a witch or something?
Thanks for spoiling a future
story.
Sorry.
Sorry. But I just wanted to make sure you were gonna spill the beans on that one.
Wait, which one?
I don't know. I remember you telling me, I think she was on the porch, that porch area that's on the second floor.
I can't remember what the hell I told you. Because
there's
a couple of times.
There's a witch story, because I remember you told me, I think one of the, when we were dating, and I remember I went with you there, and I couldn't stop thinking about, oh my god, what if that witch comes?
Was it with my uncle, the one I told previously?
No, I think maybe it was that lady that you were talking about you and Gabe saw her in Victorian clothes.
Oh, now I remember.
But she was on the balcony and she did a witch cackle or something.
Oh yeah. Okay, now I remember now. The way it's hard to explain it to someone who hasn't seen the building, but essentially the building that me and our brother stayed at that had rooms that my grandfather built for because he had so many kids, so he had a lot of rooms. On the bottom floor, it had two living rooms, one bedroom in each connection to the living room, and then a couple of bathrooms. Digital watch, where's that? I turned that off. But yeah, my grandfather built this building, which we called when we were kids. We called it a pink house because he painted it pink for whatever damn reason.
Yeah. But
it was made of concrete and stone. It's very sturdy. Every time we had a tornado, no hurricanes in Texas. Every time we had a tornado warning or that, we all get in there because it's the safest building, and that was on the ranch.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're looking at it when you're driving up to the place, you just see two stories. It's pretty big. But when you get around, and basically how you would enter it, there's a front, concrete porch that my grandfather, tiled that leads to the first rooms underneath. Then there's a staircase that goes up, all made of concrete, all made of stone. And it goes straight up, and then it makes a right, and then you go up, right? So when you go make up, you go take a right, you go up, and then it's the second floor. You're looking directly down the hallway, with the first door on your right would be the room my uncle had where he had that incident with the witch, right? Mm-hmm. And then on your left is a little wooden, old as hell, porch kind of balcony thing.
Yeah, I would say it's more like a balcony.
Well, it's a porch / balcony thing. It's covered metal rails around, and you could probably fit 2 to 3 chairs for people to sit there and look out.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's there. And then you got the bathroom on your first left, right? So you go down the hall, and the second door on your left would be my brother's room. Well, not anymore because he moved to San Antonio. But at the time, that was his room, right? Then you go down the hall, and you got your second door on your right, which is a little further down, which would have been the room I stayed in. And then right next to that one is another bedroom up there, that at the time my aunt was living in. Mm-hmm. And then if you keep going down the hallway, and it has a big open porch balcony area that's very big. Mm-hmm. He probably could have made it to another room. I don't know why they made it a balcony. I wasn't around at the time. Yeah. But it's a big giant balcony that looks out to the road. So if someone's coming to the ranch, if you're standing on the porch, you can see them coming. Yeah. So that was made there. And again, so you can sit there, you can look out, you can watch stuff like that. I don't understand why my grandfather built it in the first place, but it's there. Where I saw her, where it was on the wooden balcony, the smaller one in the front. So you would have to be standing at where my father's house lives, or in front of not front of the building, but the side where you go up the stairs, or to see anything. So I was coming home from work one day. Didn't see her as I drove past it. When I pulled up, I saw someone standing on the porch. Mm. Thought it was my grandmother, but like, why the hell would she be awake at 4 o'clock in the morning? Right? All black. But what freaked me out is when I saw her, she turned and walked off the balcony. Ew. Not into the hallway, off. And I was like, what the fuck? Right? I think that's what I told you.
Yeah. No, I'm trying to think another... I don't know if I honestly, I don't know if I said this in my ghost story, but part 1. But I, as a kid, we lived in this house, and it's like I have memories of these different houses that we lived in because we kind of moved around a lot. But one in particular was, I want to say it was like a trailer in, I forgot the name of the city. But anyways, I would always run to my mom's room, apparently. I mean, I kind of vaguely remember this, but then I kind of vaguely don't, about a man in the room. And I had to be like 4 or 5, and like, what kind of kid makes up that there's a man in the room? You know what I mean? And I was able to tell her, it was more like a shadow figure, and that it was a big, tall shadow figure man, and I would come in every time. And I think, you know what that movie, The Sixth Sense? Mm-hmm. That movie terrifies me. And I think because I've had so many ghost encounters, that's why as a kid, like, the fact that he could see dead people. Like, my mom still to this day, like, when she goes, like, wants to freak me out, she'll go like, Megan, I see dead people. Mm-hmm. And it freaks me out.
Another tale from the ranch that I remember was not mine. And this validates more that there's something spooky or ghostly going on with our ranch. Yeah. Is that my cousin Valerie, right? My uncle Mario's daughter. And she's the oldest. I think he's first. Mm-hmm. I was already living in the upstairs at the time. But I remember she told me on Thanksgiving one time, when we're all together, because I rarely ever saw her. Mm-hmm. But my uncle, he built onto his trailer an extra part of the building that was like extra rooms. Mm-hmm. Granted, he has 4 kids, so he needed more room. Mm-hmm. So he built this long, like, extra part of a building that's basically like just one big giant room, right, with 2 different bedrooms in there. So essentially, you're sharing a giant room, but you get your own bedroom space, regardless of the point. But she was sleeping in her bed, and she told me one night she felt like she woke up in the middle of the night, something like that, and she felt like someone was staring at her. When she woke up, she saw this old Hispanic woman, standing at her bed, kneeling, like she was like on her knees, like with her hands on the edge of the bed, like looking at her. Right? Ew. Yeah. Valerie put her head underneath the sheets, thought she would go away, come back, she's still fucking there, just staring at her. Oh right? My God. So she got fucking scared, threw the blanket at her, and ran out of the room. But she told me when she threw the blanket at her, it fell on her, and she could see the shape of the person underneath the blanket. Get out of here. Right? Yeah. And she was running, screaming to my uncle. My uncle's like, what's going on? Is someone in the house? Is someone breaking in? Or something like that? Because she was fucking terrified, right?
Yeah, I would be.
That's... My uncle, like, busts in the room with a fucking gun. Who's in there, right? But I turned the light on. No one in the room. No one's there. That was hers, right?
Mm-hmm. But didn't like even your brother and stuff like they had like experiences like not? Didn't you guys have like alien things that happened there too? Like, yeah, like I remember you telling me like you would see these lights and everything.
That was Gabe.
Yeah.
Yeah, Gabe told me that. I think I told
Really?
you. About these weird. They look like orb ball lights that would fly above every now and then. But my dad, I can't remember if I told this or not, but I don't think I have. But my dad, when we were in California and he was there in Texas by himself at the house on the ranch, he told me one time he woke up in the middle of the night, or he had to take a piss, so he got something to drink. And where the fridge is, if you're standing there putting water in and you look straight up, you're looking down the hallway to the bedrooms, right? The living room there, and then the hallway on the right side, they go straight down, and that's where the living room, the bedrooms are. Mm-hmm. He didn't turn the lights on. Never needs any lights anyway, so it was all dark in there. But he saw a figure standing in the hallway. Ew. And my dad had to blink real hard and look, and after he blinked real hard and looked, it was still there for a second, then he blinked again and it was gone. Mm. But he said to say he thought someone was standing in the hallway. Right? Like someone broke in or something like that. He was freaking out about it. So, not just me experiencing. Like I said before in the previous one, my friends, of course, had stuff. And then my family members, apparently. Trying to think of what my aunt told me. Now I remember it. About the house that because there was a trailer. I'm trying to think of how many houses are on this goddamn ranch. There's a main trailer my grandparents stayed at. Right? It had a few extra rooms. I think my aunt and uncles were. Then he built a pink building, a bigger building than I stayed at eventually at one point, but my aunt stayed also. That was like maybe, less than 10 yards away from the original one, so they're very close to each other. There's a small patch of area between each one. And then my uncle's house, that was about a good 100 yards away up a little dirt driveway area that led over there, where he was. And then, of course, my parents' house, where I grew up, essentially, was in one spot, and they're all about maybe 100 yards from each other. Yeah. That's how much it's like a football field distance from each other. And those are the main houses, right? Mm-hmm. But I think my aunt told me one time she said she saw a gray figure. Not black, not dark, but gray in her closet one time.
Ew, see, I'm telling you, closets, woods,
because I remember mirrors. This. Yeah, I remember I remember when I was a kid, they were talking about that. My aunt had to be, because this is the young one, Sandra. She had to be like in her 20s, less than that, maybe 18 or 19. That was a kid, right? And I remember her talking about it and to one of my other aunts, saying how she's scared. So like she thought a gray person in her fucking closet or something like that, right? And remember we talked about it with Gabe, and he thought, it might have been an alien or something. Yeah. And I was like, what? But yeah, it just a lot of freaky shit happened, and I remember one time, the scariest I've ever been. This had nothing to do with paranormal, just it's fucking scared shit out of me. Is when I went over, I think we visited back in Texas, and I was the only one that went to my dad's house. You were sick. I remember that. You couldn't travel, so you stayed with your mom. Mm-hmm. But I made the travel to San Antonio or to Blanco, see my family, right? And I stayed at my dad's place, or my where I grew up anyway. And everyone was at Mario's where they're eating dinner. So, I don't know why I didn't take my car to drive the small little distance from here to there. But I just said, I'm going to walk. Right? And it's dark outside, pitch black, right? And as I'm walking down the dirt road, and a thought came to mind is, what am I doing? It's fucking scary. All the shit I experienced and stuff like that. As I had that thought in my head, boom! This big ass goddamn bang against a fence. Now, a new fence was built. Not on our lands, other guy's land, right? That was a good 9 feet in the air, made of nice steel and like really like high quality fence, right? Big old bang! I was like, oh shit! And it was a fucking deer.
Oh my gosh!
But the scary part is, I did not hear him coming.
Did you have to change your pants after?
No, I was like, they get the shock of like all your nerves at the same time, and you're like, what? Yeah. Because it was quiet. Oh my god! And then all of a sudden it's like boom against the fence. Because I even hear like a little trotting of like deer feet or anything like that. Yeah. And I look and I see like a buck like trying to like he ran into a fucking fence. Jeez. But he had to make that sound and haul ass like that, and at next to me, not like 10 feet away over there. Like he was coming for me.
Weird.
Right? That's what freaked me out. Anything, because he went right at the fence. If the fence wasn't there, he would have ran right into me.
Oh my god.
And I would never heard him coming.
Jeez. Man.
And he didn't hear me, apparently. Like, you think you hear a human, you run.
You know what you should tell, too, is that really creepy, and I know it freaked me out, like, I got the hair standing up on the back of my neck type of thing, was when, like, I was sleeping, and I started twitching. Do you remember that one? In the corner?
I was going to say that for when we talk about demons.
Ugh.
But I guess we can talk about it here.
Yeah. No, because I know, like, I could not fully go to sleep. Like, and I think that's partially why, like, if you notice, I did two things, and I think being surrounded by the paranormal and stuff like that and had all these experiences has, like, resulted in me. I have to sleep with the TV on, but obviously Isaac can't, so when I, sleep with him in the same bed, obviously I turn the TV off. But I always put the covers over my head. Always. I don't know. It's been an instinct since I was a little kid to always sleep with the covers over my head.
No. One of the early times we started dating, right? I was sleeping over at the house a lot. And I remember one night, this involves a demon. One night that we were sleeping and I woke up and it was I looked at my phone because I was like, what time is it? And I looked at it, it's like 3:45 or 3:47 or something like that. Right before 4 o'clock.
Mm-hmm.
And so I looked up and I could hear in the room like scratching on the walls, like clawed nails, like against the wall, right? And the fan itself was very loud. It was like, vroom, 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 vroom. Like, what the hell? And it was like really loud in the room, with scratching, like shit like that. And I was like, I was gonna wake you up, like, you hear it? I looked over to you, and you were sleeping on my chest, like my arm around you, and you were twitching in your sleep, like someone was electrocuting you.
Mm-hmm.
You're like your head went different directions, and you were asleep. And I was like, what the? I was like, I've never seen you do that before, right? And the first thought came to my mind to make you stop, besides waking you up, that crossed your forehead, put a cross on your forehead, the same like you get from a priest, whatever he does that, right? You instantly stopped.
Ugh.
Right?
Time I still get like.
But when I did that and you instantly stopped, all of a sudden I felt like someone was staring at me with like hatred and heat and like anger and like despise. Like, what the fuck? Like, who? And I look up in a corner of the bedroom because remember our heads were towards the wall, our feet towards, I guess, the TV and stuff like that. But to your right, up in the corner of the bedroom, was like a black mass, and in that black mass were two little red dots, like irises staring at me. Right? Yeah. And I looked and I saw it. It was staring at me. That black mass in the fucking corner of the room with little two red eyes staring at me. I was like demon. That's the first thought that came to my mind.
Yeah.
Right? And I was like, oh fuck. Right? And I looked at my phone to see what time it is because I remember the all witching hour. Yeah. It's 3 o'clock. And I looked 3:59. I saw the phone go boom to 4 o'clock. I looked back, gone. Dang. Scratching on the walls, gone. The loud fan sound, gone. Everything was back to normal. You weren't twitching, nothing.
And it's crazy because I literally, without fail, wake up every night around that time. It might be a little bit before, might be like in the middle of 3 o'clock, but without fail, all the time, every night. And I used to do it a lot too when I was pregnant, and that mainly had to be because I had to pee. But I remember when I was pregnant, and I don't know if I told this story in the first thing, but I would have crazy dreams when I was pregnant, and I kind of blamed it on like pregnancy, like maybe it's just the opposite of pregnancy. And I remember I felt like a bunch of people staring at me, and I was like, what the heck? And I remember I got up, I sat up, because like I was real big, super uncomfortable. And I sat up and I opened my eyes and I looked and I saw literally like shadow people all around the bed, all around the bed just looking at us. And then I, like wiped my eyes like, what the hell is this? And so I wiped my eyes, like I could see little outline shadows of children. I could see like teenagers, adult figures, and the different masses, different whatever, but it was just like a shadow of them. really freaking creepy.
Yeah, not to
ask me if I went back to sleep. No, I didn't.
no, not to steal their thunder, because I know they're going to talk about it in the next episode.
Mm-hmm.
Believe in the Bizarre, talking about the All Witching Hour, and go listen to them.
I think it's already. It's
already out.
I think
okay.
so.
I don't know. I gotta check. But if it's not, go listen to them because they're going to go more in depth with it.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm gonna give you a small explanation. The All Witching Hour is between it's 3 o'clock in the morning, and essentially it's the opposite of 3 o'clock in the afternoon when Christ died. So it's everything is opposite. So 3 o'clock in the morning is the All Witching Hour, where demons have their most avid ability to do whatever they want. And essentially, it's not a time zone thing like, oh, what 3 o'clock in there is 5 o'clock here. No, it's just that hour if you see it in your time, right? So 3 o'clock for them, 3 o'clock for you is 8 o'clock for someone else. It doesn't really matter. Yeah. It's just whatever time you are seeing it is what they're available as. So, but they're Bizarre and Bizarre going to go more in depth with it. But that's just a simple explanation.
Yeah. And so, weird stuff.
I'm looking at my notes, and that's something I just saw here. I told you about I saw the girl's eyes in the window, right?
No, what? Is this at the ranch?
No, here.
Ew, what the... No?
Okay. Windows, we have, they're set up... I'm 5'10", right?
Yeah. Oh, wait, I think I remember this now.
Okay.
I think. Yeah.
The windows in our rooms that are, like, towards the street, right?
Mm-hmm. There's, like, a lot of... It's an old house, so there's, like, a lot of windows.
But it's your typical slide-up, slide-down windows.
Yeah.
Anyway.
I think it's, like, 12 windows
But where it's... If someone would have to stand and you see their face in the window, they would have to be at least 6'4", right? I'm 5'10", top of my head barely even clears it, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's how high the windows are. So what I saw, when I was sitting there playing video games in my chair, and where I'm sitting, the window is in my, like, I turn left, I look left, right? It's right there, TV to my right? And the window was cracked. The blinds were open just a little bit, like they're messed up, and there was a spot.
And I think it was kind of in between. Like over here, we have like a period of time, like I guess you would call it like fall, like true fall time.
It was cold.
Where you can lift the windows up at night, and it produces a nice breeze in the house. So I think like we had the windows like cracked open, like we were getting ready to go to sleep, so like we would shut them, but right at the time they were open.
Yeah. So I look and I see two eyes staring at me between the cracks of the window, and I could clearly see it. And I moved to think maybe it was a reflection on the glass.
Mm-hmm.
The eyes followed me.
Ew.
And then I got closer, and as I got closer, you know how you would look at someone and you look up because you're getting a better view? Same shit. So I was thinking, there's someone fucking out there staring at me.
Yeah.
Right? So I close the blinds, right? I run fucking outside. No one's there. So the eyes themselves look like they belong to a woman.
Mm-hmm.
So she's around the face.
Woman.
So it had to be a woman around 6'4".
Jeez.
In order to get the perfect eye line of where it was. Or the ghost who I was staring at. But her eyes never left. They followed me. And I moved. I got closer. Stuff like that. They were still there. I blinked. I looked. Trying to rationalize it. Still staring at me.
Yeah. Well, that's like even recently, like within... It seems like every time we do an episode, we always have like a little bit of a height in paranormal activity in the house.
Or catching EVPs on the
yeah. And like one thing that freaked me out is like, for those of you that don't know, I haven't posted them on Instagram yet. But like we've actually caught like little voices in our podcast that
not
aren't
little voices.
Yeah, voices that are not ours at all.
Mm-mm.
And 9 times out of 10, yes, we do live in a house with other people, but normally when we record, they're nowhere around. Like, they're sleeping or whatever, and they're, like, long asleep. Like, it's not like they're up moving around or whatever.
These mics are good at picking up stuff, but if someone's in another room when they're sleeping or something, we can't hear them.
Yeah. But the other day, there was, like, a big heightening stuff. Like, I was hearing voices, I was hearing my name called, I was having crazy dreams. And I like literally woke up with scratches on my forehead. Now, Isaac kind of tried to debunk it as, oh, maybe I scratched myself. But
it was only 2.
Yeah.
If it was 3, then we would have had a problem.
Well, no. I say there was 3. Isaac says there was 2.
Well, like, there's 2 big line ones and, like, a little tiny, like,
yeah,
if
but,
someone
like,
was doing it.
It was weird. It was like they were on my forehead. Like, I was, like, it literally looked like I was clawing my face. Like, it was weird. And I normally don't have that. It's not like an everyday occurrence that I scratch myself in my sleep. But I don't know. Weird stuff. Weird stuff.
But one thing I want to talk about, because my ghost stories, but the ghost stories that I have been told for friends over time. One is for my friend Rob. Right. He worked late a lot because he works construction. So, but whereas he had a house one time where he shared his neighbor was very close, and they shared a picnic table where they would go out there and hang out sometimes.
Yeah.
And it's near his garage when he loads up all his equipment. So he comes in late, parks his truck, loading some stuff, and he sees a white T-shirt sitting at the table, right? And he says to the guy, "Hey, I'm gonna say Jeff. Hey Jeff, what are you doing out here? It's late. You're never out here this late." And what he saw was the shirt go, like it just basically like disintegrates and floats off.
What?
Yeah. And he was like, he stared at it. He fucking started loading stuff faster and get out of there.
Oh my god!
Like you see, it looked like smoke just dissipating.
Weird.
Like a solid figure. He thought someone was sitting there, like his neighbor or something, and it dissipates.
Crazy.
And another guy I worked with in construction told me another story that was more what the fuck. But I want to find that building that he was working on because it was in Texas. It was around the area where I lived.
Yeah.
He said he was working on an old building that a couple bought for their house, and they were rebuilding it. When he went in there one time, he went in late at night, like around 6 or 7 or 8. It was dark, so at Texas time, it was probably 8 o'clock at night. All he had to go do was set some doors in, right? And he would come in later in the morning and start doing more work, but he had to get that done then and there because he needed to close up the building. So he started putting doors in, and he said when in between him and hammering and using the drill stuff, he started hearing people talking, right? And walking around upstairs. And he thought, oh, it's the owners, they're having a party and they're meeting people. So he went upstairs to say, hey, I'm down here. How you guys doing? Stuff like that. Went up there, opened the door. No one was fucking there. No one. The lights were off. Everything was quiet. He was like, he clearly heard people walking and talking like they were having a party up there. So I guess I'm hearing shit. Closes the door, goes back downstairs, starts working again. No more than 10 minutes later, he hears it again. Like hard footsteps on the wooden floors upstairs and people talking. He's like, all right, someone's fucking here and they're going to break in there some shit. So he goes back up there again with a flashlight, looks around all the rooms. Nothing.
Yeah.
Goes down a third time. Starts hearing it again. Goes, fuck it, there's some scary shit here. I want to finish my job and get out of here.
Jeez.
And he said when he talked to the owners like the next day, they said, oh yeah, this place is known to have some ghosts or haunting or something, as we were told. Yeah. It's an old building, but then again in Texas, a lot of old buildings. And they say the building looked like it was made in like the 1800s. That's from the wood design and how it looked. But the building we got married in, the courthouse in Blanco.
Oh, I could just imagine.
I was told some scary shit and stuff like that by people, but I never experienced anything there. And I had school dances and stuff like that there, but never once ever thought I saw anything. Someone told me one time that they were walking up to the building, and in the windows from the upstairs where the dance hall is, they saw someone standing in the window. And they went upstairs to check and make sure no one was there. No one was there.
Oh. Jeez.
Yeah.
There's apparently this... I've never actually been to it, but I've heard, like, people talk about it. There is a house in between two... Like, a major city. It's like one of those, like, in-between towns between our town and a bigger city. And it's an old plantation house. And... they do tours on Thursday, I think, and a lot of people say like you can hear crying because obviously, unfortunately, that house was where they kept slaves and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And they have big cotton fields in the back, and like literally you can hear like clanking of chains and crying and screaming and stuff like that. But a lot of people have said they've heard stuff there. Kind of on my kind of want to one day go there and just see it.
Well, with that new equipment that I'm buying,
oh my gosh,
it
here we
can
go.
work
He
as
wants,
a digital recorder.
he literally wants to start paranormal investigating.
Not necessarily. We can go to some haunted places.
Well, yeah, maybe we could do that because there is some surrounding us. I'm trying to think if I've ever actually been. I mean, they say that the USS North Carolina is haunted, and it is kind of like a dreary feeling. Like when you have you ever been to? Yeah, you went to the battleship.
And you were saying that when we were in the medical bay, you felt like wounds.
Yeah, I don't know. Like sometimes when I like I've said before, I can feel like energies of like living people. Sometimes I can feel certain energies. Like I remember this guy was talking about on a ghost tour one time. Was talking about this guy, and I turned to Isaac and I was like, "Hey, you know, like I feel like I'm being suffocated, and I don't know why. Like I cannot breathe. Like that's not a normal thing for me. I don't have any like." I am overweight a little bit, but like not enough to like suffocate me, you know, like where I can't breathe. And so I was like I seriously can't breathe. Like we're gonna have to leave this ghost tour and we're gonna have to go to the hospital. And you know the guy's explaining, I'm not really paying attention, and then Isaac heard him at the end go, "Oh yeah, this guy was by the way buried alive."
And he suffocated.
And so. With that being said, I started kind of like noticing when I go to certain things like hospitals or cemeteries really like set me off. Like I get real bad headaches
and you wanted to go to one. Cemetery? The one in Wilmington. You want to go to? Oh
yeah, there's a cemetery that they actually use sometimes for movies because there's a movie studio down there, and it's an old cemetery and it's called Oakdale Cemetery. And it's got, we went one time, like a long time ago, like maybe 4 or 5 years ago, but it was super cold that day, so it was kind of like miserable walking outside. But, I mean, they had like graves from like the 18 and 1700s. Like it was, like they were old ass graves.
Yeah. Now, the equipment that we're getting, it works as a digital recorder too, with, we call it shotgun mic microphones.
Mm-hmm.
That can be put in so you can hear things more clear, like more distinctive. So if we went to a haunted location, or hell, even had some kind of investigation here at the house,
that would be interesting.
We could probably catch some stuff. Hell, we catch stuff right now, possibly.
Yeah, no,
and we're not even trying.
Well, like I don't want to say 100% that they're all EVPs or they're all something.
A couple of them are.
Yeah, but I have sent them around to kind of like followers that are paranormal and get investigators.
Who's a paranormal entity? And
paranormal entity. That's Project Entity.
Project Entity.
Yeah, which shout out to them. They're really good if you guys follow them. I believe they're based out of the UK, and no, they're really good. They're really kind people too. So
we send stuff to them to get it verified.
Yeah, just to see what they think. You know, off the bat. Obviously, they're not here, so they can't like start debunking.
And if there is any other paranormal investigator people who spend time isolating EVPs and figuring out if it's real or not, and you're listening obviously, and you want to get your hands on these, we can send it to you. Just DM us so we can. Because believe me, we want to get these verified. As is it us doing something? Is it a burp in the room? Is it a fart or something?
Which this guy. Yeah.
Anyway, but no, the recent one we got was from last episode. It was a growl, very distinctively.
Yeah, it was a growl. Which is weird. I'm trying to think of what last week. Oh, we were talking about the Denver airport.
Yeah, which has nothing to do with paranormal.
I mean, yeah, it kind of does.
I mean, it's more conspiracy theory than anything.
Yeah.
But it was funny that we got a lot in an episode we barely talked about.
Yeah, I think it was like 2 or 3 distinctive ones. There was like a couple ones that could be like possibly passed off as something else. But yeah.
One thing I was another thing in my
notes. Maybe we'll even share with you guys on Instagram, like if we do any kind of like investigating, we'll post it on there so you guys can see.
Yeah.
Even in the house would be kind of cool to do.
Well, yeah, make sure no one's here.
Yeah.
Anyway.
So yeah.
I was reading stuff, Zach Bacon's book, Ghost Hunting for Dummies and stuff like that.
Yeah, that's a birthday present for him.
But how he described hauntings. And one thing I remember what he was describing was smell. And it reminded me, when we first moved here, right? I would sit in my chair sometimes, or after work or whatever, and I would play video games. And sometimes when I'm sitting there or watching TV, I would smell a distinctive cologne smell. Nothing I own, and I was the only man in the house. So, who was wearing it? And it was almost like that cologne smell, like that Brute aftershave. That's the best way I can describe it, right? And it was distinctive, and it was right next to me when I was playing video games. I was standing next to me. Someone was with that smell.
Yeah.
Then I asked your grandmother about it. She said, "Oh, that's what my husband wore." Your grandfather.
My husband. My grandfather did die in the house. So
that was him.
Yeah.
He was standing next to me.
Because my grandma actually has an old school bottle of his. She has his old shaver and his cologne that he wore, and it was exactly the same, almost like Old Spice, but from back in the 80s.
That's what I describe it, because it smelled like that Brute aftershave.
Brute.
My dad had it.
Brute.
But I remember the other time I was sitting in the house and I had my chair, the back of me to the door, so in the hallway. I was here by myself. I think you were talking to your grandma. And I hear clearly hard footsteps, like someone's wearing boots or high heels or something, walking down the hallway to a point where I thought someone was in the goddamn house. Got up, nothing.
Weird.
And the thing is, I haven't heard anything that distinctively clear in a long time, other from someone shuffling around the bedroom.
No. Recently, I've been hearing voices clear. My son sometimes goes on a crazy schedule where he's up in the middle of the night. He's almost 4, but he still has. And I can't say anything because my scheduling when I was a kid was off like that too. So, but there's one time he woke up around 4. And I, of course, was still kind of tired. He was playing in the playroom, playing with his toys. And I was kind of dozing off. I was, in between awake and asleep. I was kind of dozing, resting my eyes type of situation. And I hear, Megan. As clear as day. Megan. The
only time I ever heard my name clearly was when we were in Spring Branch in the trailer there, and I was laying on that
trailer area.
It had some extensive stuff.
Yeah, that stuff was. You should also reiterate that is the house that demon thing was in the corner.
Yes, that's the same place. Same
the same place where in the first episode I was talking about there was literally animal skulls and
you were banging on the trailer and stuff like that.
That was
same
house.
Same house. No, I was laying on that love seat thing and watching TV, and I hear clearly behind me a girl go, Isaac. Real and it got loud, and then it went away.
Yeah.
And I thought it was one of your sisters, right behind me. Get up, look, no one's fucking there. And no one can get in the room except for the door.
Yeah.
And that was the light on in the room.
Yeah.
Not dark, not late, light on in the room. We watched TV. I was like, Isaac. Yeah.
I also had too. There was one night that this was months ago. I was picking up toys in the playroom. My son had gone to sleep, and I was picking up the toys, and I was on my knees, bending down, picking the stuff up, and I could almost feel a breath behind me. It got really warm behind me, a warm breath, and of course I was I was kind of getting myself ready for something to and I remember I turned, looked, nothing was there. But I started getting the chills and the goosebumps. And then of course, I was like, oh, it's probably nothing. And then of course, I let my guard down kind of thing. And then I heard, Megan! And it was loud in my ear. It was so, I tend to hear that a lot. Whoever is following me around or whatever, I like to say the name Megan.
To get your attention.
Yeah.
No, the first time I ever heard your name get called, we both did, was in San Antonio. I remember that too, especially because we were watching Underworld, all of them, because you haven't seen them.
Yeah.
I was showing them to you, and I had to leave to take my brother to work, and I came back.
Mm-hmm.
And you were in the room and stuff like that. And you were saying you started hearing stuff, and that's where you went into your bedroom and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
So we were in the living room, and I was like, you were to explain it to me, and I hear clearly in the hallway, right, sister's asleep, no one like that. I hear clearly, Megan.
Mm-hmm.
Right, someone say it. And I was like, I looked in the hallway, and like, what the fuck? And he said, you looked at me like you heard it too. Like, yeah. We looked, no one's fucking there, nothing.
Yeah, all the time. Oh, and then another creepy thing is, again, with smells that I get is, there was one time, because I don't know why, and I wonder if my, like, the sensitivity gene is going to get passed on to my son, because, again, like, all the way up into my teenage years, until, like, before I even, like, started to have a job where you have set schedules or whatever, I would always, especially on weekends, summer breaks, I would always stay up during the night and sleep during the day. That's always what I did. For whatever God knows reason, that's what I did. And so I would work on, I used to like writing screenplays when I was in high school. And I was up one night, I was video editing something, and I was, because I had this big, like, dream of being, like, a horror movie director. And, I remember I started getting a whiff of, like, apple pie. And I was like, damn, that smells good. Like, and I was trying to think, like, and funny enough, I had my headphones in, I was, like, playing a little bit of music, but very soft. And then I also had, because I had to have TV on for whatever reason, I had Ghost Adventures, funny enough, playing, like, when they first started coming out on the TV. I was, like, it was, like, a little bit of a divider area from the, like, living room to the computer area. I mean, it wasn't, like, a full room. It was, like, literally half a wall dividing. And so I was doing this stuff, and I smelled this apple pie, and I'm like, why am I smelling apple pie? Like, there was nothing being baked, there was nothing in the kitchen, everyone was asleep, it was the middle of the night, and so there was no candles, nothing that would signify an apple pie smell. There's no plugins, there was no nothing. And so I was like, why do I smell an apple pie? And I look up in the kitchen, and I see a woman, like, with her hair wrapped in a bun, like an old-fashioned, like, it looked like someone from the 1950s, funny enough, like, it's, like, stereotypical, like, the housewife at home baking an apple pie, 1950s kind of thing. But she had, like, an apron, and I just, because it kind of looked like my mom, like, if my mom was in that time period, which was weird, but, like, I zoomed up, and I looked back, because I remember reading somewhere where, like, literally if you pay attention to your laptop or there's too much, like, the blue light or whatever, it can have an effect and, like, make you hallucinate. And so I remember I looked back and there was nothing, but I could still smell the remnants of an apple pie.
By the way, if you hear thunder in the background, that's not us putting it in there. That's the actual, we have a thunderstorm going on.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
It's adding ambience to the story.
Oh my god.
Ambience.
Ew, that's
to the story.
scary. I don't like the way you say that.
You don't like this voice?
Ew, no, I don't.
Yeah.
No, that voice reminds me of, like, I don't know, like...
Creepy guy from this town. I don't know.
Oh no, it freaks me out. It sounds like something that you would
right,
think.
When you think you're alone, I'm going to say that in the hall.
No, thank you. like I don't know. Ever since that one movie, that Tiny Tim song,
Tiptoe.
Get out of here. I don't like it. Oh, yeah, freaks me out. I know, going off subject here.
Well, not that. It's just that movie. Well, horror movies. If you start using happy-go-lucky music with scenes of horror, it ruins the song.
Well, like
it creates a very
that one movie
creepy feel.
Destroyed that People Are Strange by The Doors. Destroyed it. What was that? Like, two cops. Strangers. No. No, Strangers had more of a. They had almost like a rockabilly song, like a Johnny Cash or like a rockabilly song playing. When
I can't remember.
After. But the second one, which was a crappy movie, had like 70s music throughout it. But no, there was a movie that we watched that was like cops went and investigated what they said was a murder, but it was like an exorcism, and the guy was loose or something. And right before whatever it was would like try and attack them. That people are strange when you're a stranger. Faces look ugly.
I can't remember.
When you're alone.
Love it.
And it I used to like it because my favorite movie ever is The Lost Boys.
Yeah.
And so that's one of the songs. And so I used to. Now I can't do it. I don't even like remakes of it. Like, no thanks.
No, you know what the song ruined me for horror movies was Nights in White Satin.
Oh yeah.
That was played behind. It was at Halloween where Michael was killing people.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
They used it in Dark Shadows with Johnny Depp.
Yeah.
Barnabas. I don't think his last name is Colin. I was about to say Colin. Colin, yeah. Barnabas Colin.
Anyway.
Barnabas!
Stop it.
I like that name. Like, it sounds like Barnabas. Barnabas. Yeah, I like it.
You want any more kids in it?
No, that's weird.
Okay.
No, it's like more of a, I don't know, Barnabas.
You know what's funny is that now that I think about ghost hunting equipment and stuff like that, when we ever get a chance to go back to Texas, see if I can do it around my ranch.
Ew, creepy.
I haven't been back in forever, and no one really is living there.
What if you like replay the paranormal like the recorder and you hear?
Oh fuck.
Yeah. That'd be creepy. Creepy.
No, because I would do my room, Gabe's room.
You know what's kind of funny?
Room.
Have you ever
figure out stuff?
Like when I get scared, I do like the little shimmy. You know, kind of like what a kid does, like when they're scared.
No, you shake and go ew, 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 ew. That's what you do. Your word to say is ew. Like,
yeah.
When something creepy happens, ew, ew, ew.
No, because like when we were doing the EVP, like when we found those EVPs in the podcast, and I was hearing it, I could hear the growl, and I was like, oh my god, Isaac, ew, 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 ew.
Which you might catch some here. We didn't even know.
Yeah, and this microphone catches a lot.
Well, it's kind of tense because we're.
If someone does a silent but deadly fart in another room, you're gonna hear. Sorry, that was followed by a snort. Sorry.
What time we're at?
We are at 4 to 7 minutes.
Yeah, okay. I'm trying to.
No, we've been on a rambling spell today.
Yeah.
We've just been firing off some conversations.
No, I know there's so many more ghost stories that we have. I just can't remember.
Yeah, I gotta literally physically sit down and write down, like go from house to house.
Or like the time you heard knocking on your mirror.
Oh, I'm telling you, cabins. Oh, no, not cabins. Woods, mirrors. Woods, mirrors. It's woods, mirrors.
No, because
closets. Yes, woods, mirrors, and closets. You put me in a cabin in the woods and a closet with a mirror inside. Hell, I'm dead. Like I'm dead.
No, because
I'll pass out from the fact that I'm inside. In the woods are just creepy. Though.
But you want to go camping?
I do. I really want to go to Asheville, and he thinks it's a bad idea because he thinks something's summoning me there.
Yeah, but no, it was at the house Spring Branch, the trailer. Well, I'm gonna say all a lot of shit happened. But you were doing your hair, and the mirror was against it. It was stuck up against the closet door, and you kept hearing tapping against it. And every time I would leave, right, it would start up again. I came back, it was quiet. Yeah. Remember one time I was walking down the hallway, I heard like tapping against it, and you're like, "Oh, there it is." I'm like, "Oh, so shit!" And I walked back in there, and you're like, "Okay, it went away."
Yeah,
and then what scared the shit out of both of us is that when I walked away the third time, bang, bang, bang against the glass window, and it was your dad.
Oh my god, I remember. But I used to always hear tapping in that trailer was just oof. It was just
Yeah, it's funny. Remember the whistling we heard?
Huh.
We had the window open after last year, like November or something like that.
Oh yeah,
you heard whistling outside.
Yeah, because like I
said, late at night.
But you know what though, I no. How many times have I sent you outside saying that I've heard voices at the window?
Yeah, people out there.
Yeah, like I legitimately for a long time thought people were at the window. Like, go out there and figure out who the hell is at the window.
Yeah.
Like I heard a little girl go Megan out of the window. I heard, and like it's crazy because there's not an actual. It's a little bit teetering off this, but there's a website called I think it's like ghostofamericas.org or ghost sighting. Did you fart? That's not an EVP. That's his ass talking. His ass putting some commentary to this. Anyways. But there's a site. It's like ghostofamericas.com or .org or something like that. And it basically is a place where people can put locally, like you put in your city and whatever, and it's like local encounters. Like there is an apartments apparently that literally there is like demonic activity that happens there.
Oh yeah, if it was an area a lot.
Yeah, like people have actual. I remember one time my grandma got freaked out because, you know, she's like really, really, you know, like Catholic. She's really, you know, super into the religion, and I remember one of the priest a long time ago, he did like exorcisms or something, and he said, oh yeah, I do exorcisms all the time. Like it was like a nonchalant like thing, like, oh yeah, we do exorcisms a lot in this town. And I'm like, what? What? That's information that you should just keep.
Well, there is devil worshippers here.
Oh yeah, I know that for sure, without a doubt.
So
I mean, there was literally, I think, in our neighborhood, there was, which, you know, it might not be, I don't know much about the Satanic Church. I don't know in depth about them. I don't, you know, and I don't know, like, the difference between satanic people and, like, devil worshipping, like what they do that makes them different. But I remember
one is obvious of what they do, and the other one is secret of what they do.
Yeah. But I remember, there was like a house, and I can't, for the life of me, cannot remember which house, but it was on like the newer part of our subdivision. Straight up had everything, like satanic flags, and I mean, they straight up said I worship the devil, like that. I mean, I worship Satan. It wasn't like you know, and it was kind of creepy. But my mom can attest that there's devil. But even in San Antonio, I remember when we lived in San Antonio, there was I remember the creepiest thing I have ever seen in my entire life is I was with my friend and we were in downtown San Antonio. And it's creepy down there to begin with. Like, it's definitely a place you don't want to be walking with, like, by yourself. And I remember we were trying to be big and bad, you know, we're teenagers, Mom, let us go out by ourselves, whoa, right? So we went into the mall, we came out, we were trying to find them, and we were both kind of like semi-panicking, like, oh crap, we can't find my parents, you know? And our phones, for whatever reason, weren't working. And I remember, like, I'm a rocker person, I'm a metalhead, I listen to the music, I like everything with, you know, the rock community, but there was, like, gothic people. Like, an entire, like, they were lining the building, like, just sitting there, like, stone-faced. And I was like, what the fuck is this? Mm-hmm. What is this? Like, I'm over here, and I dressed goth for a chunk of portion in high school, and they kept calling us over. They're like, hey, come here. Hey, come here. And for the life of me, I ran across the street and I told my friend at the time, it's like, yeah, we need to find my parents, like, right now. But it was just, like, super creepy. Ugh, it's creepy. But no, like, that site has tons and tons and tons of incidences, especially on base, because we live in a military town, about what? Do you know?
What? Oh, the black-eyed children.
Black-eyed children. And that scares the shit out of me. I'm like, ugh, you want to see me freak out and do that ooh thing? If I ever saw those kids in person, I think I would die. Like, there's whole articles about Marines that have had issues with them. Mm. Yeah, like, I read one where the guy was like, he was, you know, all his friends were out doing stuff in town, and he was left in the barracks, and Butch Barracks is basically housing, like on-base housing for Marines. They live in like almost like dorm rooms, but for Marines. And he heard a knock at the door, and it was these two children, and he noticed that they had black eyes. And, you know, they were just basically trying to get in there, like saying that they were cold, they were lost, and they didn't mention anything about their parents, and no one was around. They were just, and when he noticed, like, they were trying to get, like, closer and closer to him, he shut the door. And the next day, I think, like, he made a report and, like, asked them to, like, look. I don't know if there's security cameras or what, but asked them to look, and there's no sighting. No, there's nothing of the kids being there. It was just, you see him, and he goes to the door, and you see him talking, but you don't see any of the kids.
Probably one of the reasons why we never got a baby monitor for Killian.
Freak that. I watched too many. No, who was it? My grandma was telling me a story about, she knew somebody, like, back in the day. I don't know if it was relative, like a distant relative, or like a thing, but she would have, like, and that's why I'm like, I hate the idea of, which I know, you know, as a parent you have to do it, but like how you leave a baby in a crib in a separate room, you know, that every time she would wake up in the morning, the baby would be laying underneath the crib. How creepy is that?
I know, you just reminded me of something. When Killian got dragged off to bed.
No, that was a really scary situation.
Now, explain. People are like, what? Killian was probably 2, maybe 3 months old. He was still a baby. He couldn't walk, couldn't crawl.
Yeah, couldn't even.
Maybe 2 months. He was still like an infant, essentially. I think it was like one early time. And we had him in your grandma's bedroom.
Yeah,
which is not what your parents did.
Because he was, the way Isaac's work schedule and everything was, and I stayed at home, I stayed in a separate room just because he was like, you know, a newborn. Well, he was a newborn. He was like maybe a month or two. Didn't really, like, could hold his head up but couldn't fully roll yet.
Yeah.
And I remember I had gotten up, you know, like I said, he was in the middle of the bed. I even had a little bit of a barricade. I think I was just going to let Isaac know he was going to sleep.
No, we were talking.
Yeah.
And
I wasn't even away from the room. I was in the hall.
No, we were in the kitchen.
No, I was in the hall because well, no, we were more towards the kitchen, but we were still in the hall. Yeah. And I had gotten a bad feeling. And I said, well, let me go check on Killian. Right?
But this is how I know we knew something was wrong. Because I remember it. He was in the middle of the bed. Because I remember I saw him, oh, little baby right there. Like, you know, like that. He was like in the middle of the bed. Uh-huh. And I was worried about him falling over. But we had pillows on the floor just in case he rolled off. So I was in the middle of the bed, dead asleep. Okay, he's not going to go anywhere. Me and you were in the hall. We're talking. And I was in the bedroom. You were staying in the hall. And we hear a thud. And Killian started crying. Yeah. And we're like, what the fuck? And like, he rolled off to bed or something? You were freaking out. And we find him.
No. That's not how the story went.
That's how I remember.
No. I got a bad feeling. I said, let me go check on Killian. Because I got a bad feeling. So I got to where the bathroom was. And I literally saw his feet being pulled.
Oh, shit.
And, you know, obviously I couldn't, because I ran. I, like, literally ran. And the way he fell, like, I still am fathomed by that event because that shouldn't have happened. Yeah. I mean, he was fine. There was nothing. He didn't have anything wrong with him. Like, nothing. Scared. He was just probably scared. I mean, I would be too. Because he was dead asleep and someone pulls you. Yeah. Like, that was like, never again will I ever do, like, not even to this day do I even, like, when he's taking a nap, I'm, like, consistently checking on him, like.
Well, nothing messes him now.
Yeah, he hasn't had anything like that. That was the only time, but that was definitely, like, freaking scary.
I got mad. I was like, I wanted to punch whoever it was in the head.
Yeah. Because, I mean, that was scary. That could have, that could have been really serious. But, yeah, thankful for the pillows. Yeah. And, like, the way he felt was, like, right on the pillow. Yeah. So weird.
Well, if you freaked you out with our ghost
Yeah.
stories part 2, well, it's actually going to be a 3 because you can go on for hours.
Yeah, I have to literally sit down and plot out but oh, excuse me.
So let's
draw from the jar.
Haunted topics.
Yeah.
Damn it. 1. Alright. Ooh. You wrote it kind of weird, but paranormal of the ocean.
Yeah.
The scary stuff.
We're talking about like mermaids and like, could that be a thing?
Well, mermaids, creatures, shit people have heard out in the oceans, depth, the scary stuff that's in the oceans, just the creepiness of things stories that people have told and stuff like that, and things we've learned. So I know I've learned a lot. There are a few things about like sirens, like not the actual siren, like the mermaids and the sirens songs and stuff like that, and sailors hear shit, and aliens things that people have seen on the ocean and stuff like that.
Creepy.
Yeah, just creepy stuff.
A
in the
lot
ocean.
of stuff. So that will be an extensive one. So, anyways,
we'll catch you weirdos in the next one.
Yes.